Mm. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, can you please? But he wound up knocking back down on me. There's times that I thought I couldn't last for long. Now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know. Good morning to Veterans Council and Veterans final episode in this month-long journey on Black veterans, their families, and mental wellness. How you doing? I'm your moderator for this evening. Let me adjust his glasses. Your moderator for this evening, and I'm sorry, this morning. And we're gonna. The last episode will be the town hall, what I call a town hall, which you guys may have seen earlier as you came on. You saw a bunch of us going to have a good conversation. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be real. It's going to be candor. It's going to be candor. You know why? Because I got a bunch of E9s. Okay, if you got a bunch of E9s, you're going to expect some candor. But I want to kind of get you to walk you through kind of the journey we went through when we started this podcast. And I want to first talk about the why. The why, if you guys have been noticing in the last 8 months, we have really seen a lot of racial division going on through this whole country. And the narrative has been very negative, non-inclusive, and just not, it's just not healthy. And it started off with the Black Lives Matter and the death of George Floyd to the insurrection in January 6th, and it's still continuing on. So I felt like, I said, God, what can I do? And anybody who's a Christian know that. Be careful when you ask God what to do, because he's going to answer you. So he told me to sit there and Tony, you need to be that moderated voice when it comes to racial tensions and stuff. I want you to sit there and focus on the mental health. I intentionally did 6 podcasts because I wanted, first of all, I didn't want to be a one-off. A lot of times people want to celebrate Black History, it's a one-off and then forget it. I didn't want to do that. I want it to be always in your face for the whole entire month. And I don't want to talk about that because one thing we got to do is change the Black History Month, because when you talk about the Black History Month, then you really just talk about the past. We need to be like the Hispanics and have Black Heritage Month, where we can talk about the future as well. You only look back so far. If you look back too far, then you can't see what's going on in front of you. So I think we ought to sit there and advocate for changing that name to Black Heritage Month or something that's more forward thinking. But that's another conversation. Maybe our guests could decide. So what I want to sit there and go and come with me on this journey that we've done since 1st of March. All right. So first, here's the first journey. I created, and I found out by creating this poster, you have to find somebody that really understands Black veterans, because you just can't go to anybody and say, make a poster. You got to get somebody that really understands it to get it together. That was one of my most difficult things, was finding a poster to design that. And then my other most difficult thing is finding a Black veteran. I mean, that guy there got a beard, but I said, okay, he could be Navy. But trying to find Black veteran was also was very difficult, except for his history. So I tell you something, that's something we got to look at. If you go to a lot of these platforms like Canvas or whatever, they may not have something as they may not have as many resources when it comes to Black veterans. So that's something we got. But that just tells you how we rarely talk. If we don't talk and be out there, then they're not going to create little photos and if they do, they'll have some photos with the guy with the beard and stuff, and the guy there and the left that looked like he ready to eat nails. It must be rain. So that's one thing. One of the lessons learned I had. Now our first podcast. I'll make sure I find it here. Well, can't see it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this is it here. This is my first podcast. First podcast were Black combat female veterans who were in the mental health profession. They started out, and you know how the ladies are, man. They set the bar this dang high. Well, they set the bar high. I had Kimberly Mokenbroach, retired Army. Gwendolyn Crowley, retired Army. And then she worked for VA. And then Lakeisha Jones, she did 10 years in the Army. And we had a really good session on that one. So that was interesting, getting that together. And then followed by that, we had, I said, Black women veterans and military sexual trauma. I really struggled for that title because I wanted to really say Black veterans, but really in this case, I said Black women veterans instead of what they were going to be on. And these guys I've got the best response I got from the podcast was this one here, the Black women veterans. They heard things they never heard before, and I really want to cry. So because of that, and these are part of my tribe anyway. I know these ladies very well. They're very, they're more than just military sexual trauma. They're very accomplished in the other things that they do. In fact, Lakeisha's about ready to retire from the Air Force, and Tiffany's retired Army, and she's about ready to open up her own bar herself. So these ladies are more than just the MST, and I want to make sure we emphasize that part as well. So that was, and then we had the brothers. Yeah. You're looking all Robert, looking all dapper and stuff on that mug, but Robert, retired Army, a combat veteran, E7, and he works for the Vet Center. Pernell Bush, retired Marine, and in Orlando, he's LCSW. We're doing it real hard on Orlando. And Ulysses Moore, retired first sergeant, all of them mental health counselors. Used to work for VA, retired from the VA. So we had some good conversations there. The biggest takeaway when I told Ulysses, hey, we're gonna talk about Floyd, and then Floyd's like, Ulysses said, you're not gonna censor me. You're not gonna censor me. So that just tells you just how passionate we are when we saw that. We're not robots. We're all human beings. Contrary to what you see on TV, we are all human as well, and you'll see that as our conversation goes on. Okay, and then we had the Black family. Make sure I find the Black family one. Oh, don't see that. That's my favorite one. I had a podcast on a Black family. Can't see it on my deck here. Oh, here it is. Black family. Okay, we had Dr. Perry, Dr. Michael Mays, Dominique Battle, and Kimberly Kinsler. Because I think sometimes when it comes to veterans, they think that we're just by ourselves. I would say almost 80% of the military veterans have some kind of relationship with somebody, either being divorced, married, single parent. But there's almost no resources out there for the families. One of them you'll hear from Tracy. She's one of the resources that we do have out there in the Vet Center. But there's very few resources, and I wanted people to know that we have families out there, and so we did a good job there on that one. And then finally, we did the research because one of the things I've always learned. I've learned by a lot of researchers that because when it comes to racism and white supremacy or whatever you want to call it, it's about perceptions. And if you don't have data behind your perceptions, then it just becomes somebody complaining. So research, I thought that was important that we talked about research because that's where the data. We need to do more research. In fact, if you look at one of the things we did here, the 2017 Minority Veteran Report came out. I was kind of critical on that because they published it in November 2020, but the report 2017, and then the data is 2014. So that's kind of crazy. But we got to put and it's controlled by the Center of Minority Veterans. Some people don't know that exists. We got to do more. We got to do more. The VA got to do more about marketing and then find out what exactly does the Center of Minority Veterans do. So that was on research, and I had Dr. Harlan on there. He kind of hold it down, so we can ask some questions about what are the top 10 mental health that the Black veterans, because sometimes they're not the same. So I wanted to know that we need studies. We had a study that was done, and we'll go into that later on, that was done by RAND and Military Times, but we need to do that as well. So I wanted to have research there because we got to have the data. We got to do more about having the data. And then finally, this is where we are, the destination of this town hall. Now I'm going to tell you how this town hall is going to go, because I always believe in collective voice. Instead of one person talking, then you're just you talking. I like a collective voice, but I first want to start off with our